Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time, we're headed to Guatemala.
Ooh, nice.
But not just any trip to Guatemala, though.
Okay.
We're diving deep into their coffee scene in 2024.
Awesome.
And spoiler alert,
Yeah.
it's way more exciting than you might think.
More than just
Listen.
coffee and volcanoes.
Well, I mean, we're not going to talk about volcanoes this time, but
Okay.
we did find some seriously cool stuff happening
Awesome.
in the world of Guatemalan coffee this year.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah. So we've got reviews of 38 single origin coffees to dig into.
Wow. 38.
And trust me,
Okay.
we found some really unique things.
All right.
It's not just about those like classic Guatemalan flavors you might expect.
Okay, so we're going beyond the typical kind of
Exactly.
Guatemalan profile.
It's like a blend of like that rich coffee heritage, but with some like really cutting edge trends.
I love that blend of tradition and innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump right into these reviews.
All right, let's do it.
One thing that was really obvious right away
Yeah.
was the dominance of geisha coffee.
Really?
Like it was everywhere.
Wow.
5 of the top-rated coffees we looked at were geishas.
Interesting.
So it seems like Guatemala has really embraced this bean.
Yeah. That is remarkable. Geisha is usually associated with like Panama, with its delicate floral and cocoa notes.
Right, exactly.
But it seems like it's found a home in Guatemala too.
It really has.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there were 2 geishas in particular
Okay.
that just blew us away.
Okay. Hit me.
First up, GK Coffee's Guatemala El Injerto Malawi Geisha. Watched.
Okay.
This one scored a 95.
Wow. 95. That's impressive.
I know, right?
Yeah. What made it so special?
Well, for one thing, the geisha variety in this coffee,
Yeah.
it can actually be traced back to Malawi.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So like even within geisha as a varietal,
Right.
there's all this diversity.
Yeah.
Like a whole other story behind it.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It's like a whole other layer to the
It
experience.
is for sure.
And then the other one that was just incredible
Okay.
was Kakalev's Guatemala washed Finca La Hermosa Geisha Peaberry.
That's a mouthful.
I know, right?
Okay.
It got a 94.
Okay. Still very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one is a peaberry.
Now, for those who may not know,
Yeah.
what's a pea berry?
So a peaberry is basically a coffee bean
Okay.
that develops as a single seed inside the coffee cherry
Oh, interesting.
instead of the usual 2.
Okay.
So it's like a little bit of a unique thing.
Yeah.
And this particular peaberry, it really showcases how Guatemalan growers
Yeah.
are blending like tradition and innovation.
Okay, how so?
Because you get those like classic clean flavors of a washed coffee.
Right, so like bright acidity, smooth body, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
But then you also get the added complexity of the geisha
Okay.
with its floral and fruity notes.
Oh, wow. So it's like a bridge
Yeah.
between those classic tastes
Right.
and something new.
Exactly.
True.
Now, speaking of new stuff,
Okay.
we also saw some really interesting natural processed geishas.
Oh, wow. So they're experimenting with different processing methods too.
They are.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's the Bon Life Guatemala Finca Laurina Geisha.
Right.
Scored a 93.
Nice.
And this one, they describe it as like a total fruit bomb,
Oh, wow.
like bursting with juicy, ripe flavors.
So natural processing really brings out that
Yeah.
fruitiness, huh?
It does. So natural processing is basically
Right,
where
right.
the coffee cherry is dried intact around the bean.
Okay.
So it's like the opposite of washed, where you remove the fruit first.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it really amplifies those fruity characteristics.
Very cool.
And then there's the Euphoria Coffee El Injerto Legendary Geisha.
Okay, another El Injerto.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This one also got a 94,
Wow.
but it's a little different.
Okay, how so?
It's got a more refined profile.
Oh, interesting.
Like it almost tastes like a washed coffee,
Really?
even though it's naturally processed.
So it's still complex and acidic.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
They're really playing with those processing methods
Yeah,
to create some unique expressions of the geisha bean.
that's really cool.
But I know what some listeners might be thinking right now.
What's that?
Hold on. Is it all geisha now?
Yeah, is that all Guatemala's doing these days?
Right.
Okay.
So don't
Yeah?
worry.
All right, good.
Those classic Guatemalan flavors,
Yeah.
they're still going strong.
Okay, here.
We saw plenty of evidence of that in the reviews.
Good, because I love those deep, chocolatey, nutty notes
Me too,
that
yeah.
Guatemala is known for.
Yeah.
So they haven't gone away completely.
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Like, for example, the handlebar Guatemala Bella Carmona,
Okay.
this one got a 93.
All right.
And it really showcases that old school Guatemalan style.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, it uses bourbon and Caturra beans.
Those are classics.
They are.
Yeah.
And it just delivers this like vibrant yet low-toned complexity. It's like that cozy evening by the fireplace
I love that.
with a good book.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah,
So those classic flavors are still there.
they are.
Okay, good to know.
But here's what's even more exciting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Guatemala isn't just sticking to the tried and true.
Oh, really?
Yeah, producers are venturing beyond the usual suspects and exploring some new and unique beans too.
Like what?
Well, for example,
Yeah.
Torque Coffee's Marago-Pache.
Okay.
This one scored a 91,
All right.
and it stood out because of its incredibly delicate structure.
Oh, wow. So something totally different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's Willoughby's Guatemala El Socorro Laurina.
El Socorro Laurina.
Okay.
Okay.
This one also got a 91.
Okay.
But this one really piqued my curiosity.
Okay, why is that?
So Laurina beans are kind of unique.
Okay.
They're small and pointy,
Okay.
and they come from trees that have a very distinct shape.
Interesting.
Plus, they're known for having a lower caffeine content naturally.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if that's
Yeah.
a response to the trend of people looking for,
Yeah, like a gentler.
yeah, like a gentler caffeine experience.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It makes you think about how coffee trends are changing.
Right.
Even down to the caffeine level.
Exactly.
Interesting.
But aside from the caffeine,
Yeah.
these Laurina beans, they also have this amazing flavor profile.
What is it?
It combines savory chocolate with floral rose notes.
Wow, that sounds really unique.
It does, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like a really unique coffee experience.
I'd love to try that one.
Yeah. And then another trend that we saw
Okay.
was this rise of innovative hybrids.
Hybrids.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the standouts
Yeah.
was the Coffee Guatemala Chichapao.
Chichipao.
Yeah.
Okay.
It got a 93.
Nice.
And it's a blend of disease-resistant hybrids,
Okay.
like Costa Rica 90 Paranema and Sarcamore.
So these are hybrids that were developed to help with things like coffee leaf rust.
Exactly,
Right.
which can be devastating to crops.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know some people might be thinking,
Yeah.
wait a minute, hybrids?
Right.
Some people associate those with lower quality.
Especially when Robusta's in the mix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Even though this blend does have Robusta in its lineage,
Okay.
it achieves an exceptional cup quality
Really?
because of the way they process it.
Oh, interesting.
They use something called red honey processing.
Red honey processing.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one.
So basically, they leave some of the coffee cherry fruit on the bean
Okay.
during drying.
So it's like a middle ground between washed and natural.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
So it adds this sweetness and fruitiness that you wouldn't get with a regular washed coffee.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's produced by a cooperative of small-scale producers in Rabanal,
Okay.
which is a region that's been really deeply impacted by civil war
Oh, wow.
and social and economic inequality.
So this coffee has a really powerful story behind it.
It does.
Yeah.
So when you drink this coffee,
Yeah.
you're not just enjoying a delicious cup.
Right.
You're also supporting a community
That's awesome.
that's working to rebuild and thrive.
I love that.
And it's not the only one.
Oh, there are more.
Yeah. Another coffee that caught my eye
Okay.
was the Wonder State Organic Guatemala Tuchquilla.
Okay.
This one got a solid 92,
Nice.
and it really highlights the focus on sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability is becoming so important
It is.
in the coffee world.
Yeah. They use sustainable farming practices, which benefits both the environment
Yeah.
and the quality of the coffee.
And the result is.
Classic Guatemalan cup
Okay.
with those delicious cherry pear and cocoa notes.
So you can have environmental responsibility
Yeah.
and amazing flavor.
Absolutely.
That's great.
So we've talked about specific coffees,
Yeah.
but I think it's important to point out
What's that?
that certain farms and regions
Yeah.
are consistently producing these top-rated coffees.
Okay.
Like places like Finca El Injerto, Finca Bella Carmona, and Finca El Socorro.
Those names keep popping up.
They do.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence.
Right.
These farms have built reputations
Yeah.
for their expertise and dedication to quality.
It's like they've become landmarks on the Guatemalan coffee map,
They have.
each one with its own unique approach.
Exactly.
It's
And they're all contributing to this exciting evolution that we're seeing in Guatemalan coffee.
It's like a tapestry of flavors and innovation
I love that.
being woven together thread by thread,
As a
farm by farm.
So we've seen how Geisha is making waves.
Yeah.
And how those classic flavors are still holding their own. And we've also seen how producers are experimenting
Yeah, with new varieties.
with new varieties and processing techniques.
Yeah.
But what does all this mean for coffee drinkers?
That's the big question, right?
It is.
Like, what does it all mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think what it shows is that Guatemalan coffee is becoming even more diverse and exciting.
I like that.
Yeah, like there's a Guatemalan coffee out there for every taste preference,
Right.
whether you crave those deep traditional flavors,
Yeah.
the delicate elegance of a geisha, or
Right.
something completely unexpected and new.
So what kind of Guatemalan coffee experience are you most curious to try?
Yeah, it's really fascinating, how much variety we're seeing
Yeah.
within this single origin.
Right.
Like, it really challenges the idea
Yeah.
that Guatemalan coffee is just one thing.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like there's this perception that like
Right.
Guatemalan coffee
Yeah.
equals like dark chocolatey roasts.
Exactly.
But what we're seeing now
Yeah.
is so much more nuanced than that.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
like they're taking those foundational flavors.
Right.
You know, the ones that made Guatemala famous? Yeah.
And they're using them as like
Right.
a springboard for innovation.
I like that.
Yeah. They're playing with new varietals,
Yeah.
experimenting with processing,
Mhm.
and it's resulting in some really exceptional coffees.
Yeah. One thing that really struck me
Yeah.
was when we were talking about those different geishas,
Mhm.
the role of the processing methods
Yes.
in shaping the final cup.
Absolutely.
We touched on it briefly,
Yeah.
but it seems like there's a whole world to explore there.
There is a whole world.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Guatemala is embracing
Yeah.
a wide spectrum of processing techniques,
Okay.
from the traditional washed process
Right.
to the more experimental honey and natural processes. And each method
Yeah.
brings out different nuances in the beans.
Could you maybe explain those a little bit more?
Sure.
For listeners who might not be familiar
Of course.
with those different processing methods?
So the washed process,
Yeah.
that's the most common method.
And it involves removing the fruit from the coffee cherry
Right.
before drying the beans.
Okay.
So this results in a cleaner, brighter cup
Mm-hmm.
with more pronounced acidity.
Okay.
Then you have natural processing,
Yeah.
where the coffee cherry is dried intact
Uh-huh.
around the bean.
Okay.
This method tends to enhance the sweetness and
Yeah.
fruitiness of the coffee, sometimes creating those fruit bum profiles we talked about.
Exactly.
And then there's honey processing,
Yeah.
which falls somewhere in between.
Okay.
With honey processing, some of the fruit pulp is left on the bean
Right.
during drying.
Okay.
This can create a really interesting balance
Mm-hmm.
of sweetness, body, and acidity.
It's amazing how much impact that can have on the final flavor.
It is, right.
Yeah.
It's like having the same ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
but using different cooking techniques
Right.
to create completely different dishes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the artistry
Yes.
and skill of the people behind these coffees.
Absolutely.
The farmers and the processors
Yeah.
who are making these conscious decisions
Mm-hmm.
about how to best showcase the bean's potential.
It's a collaboration between nature
Mm-hmm.
and human ingenuity.
Yeah,
And that's what makes exploring coffee so rewarding.
it is.
Each cup tells a story,
Yeah,
not just of the bean itself,
right.
but also the people who nurtured it and brought it to life.
We've talked a lot about like flavor and processing,
Yeah.
but there's another aspect of coffee production.
Mhm.
It's becoming increasingly important
What's that?
to consumers.
Okay.
And that's the social and environmental impact.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
People want to know where their coffee comes from,
Yeah.
how it was grown,
Right.
and if the people who produced it
Yeah,
were treated fairly.
exactly.
And that's where stories like that Coffee Guatemala Chichipo
Right.
really resonate.
Yeah.
It's not just a delicious coffee.
Right.
It's a coffee with a conscience.
And it's not an isolated case either.
No, it's not.
Like we're seeing this emphasis
Yeah.
on ethical and sustainable coffee production
Mm-hmm.
across Guatemala.
There's a growing awareness
Yeah.
of the need to protect the environment,
Right.
support local communities,
Hmm.
and create a more equitable coffee industry.
It's really heartening to see.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
It shows that coffee can be a force for good,
it does.
both in terms of flavor
Yeah.
and impact.
It's about recognizing that coffee is more than just a beverage.
Exactly.
It's a connection
Yeah.
to people and places
Mm.
around the world.
It's a way to support sustainable practices
Yes.
and make a positive difference.
And I think that awareness
Yeah.
is making the coffee experience
Mm.
even richer.
It is.
Like knowing the story
Yeah.
behind your cup.
It adds another layer of enjoyment.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate the complexity of the coffee industry.
Yeah.
And the dedication of the people.
The people who work so hard.
Who work so hard to bring us these beans.
To bring us these amazing beans.
It's a journey of discovery, really.
It is.
With each sip
Yeah.
revealing new flavors, new stories, new perspectives.
I love that.
So if you're looking to expand your coffee horizons,
Yeah.
Guatemala is definitely a place to explore.
Absolutely.
It's a country with a rich coffee heritage, a vibrant culture,
Yeah.
and a commitment to quality and sustainability.
It's a coffee lover's paradise.
It is.
Plain and simple.
But with so much variety,
Yeah.
it can be a little overwhelming
Yeah.
to know where to start.
It can be.
What advice would you give
Yeah.
to someone who's just starting to explore
Okay. Good question.
Guatemalan coffee?
I think the key is to be curious and adventurous.
Okay.
You know, don't be afraid to try different roasters,
Yeah.
different varietals, different processing methods. Start with what you know you like, and then branch out from there.
So if you like those like classic chocolatey flavors,
Yeah.
you could try a coffee from like Finca Bella Carmona.
Exactly.
And if you're intrigued by like the Geisha,
Yeah.
you know, there are plenty of options.
Yeah, you could try the same geisha variety
Right.
processed in different ways
Yeah.
to see how that impacts the flavor.
So there's no one right way
Exactly.
to experience Guatemalan coffee.
It's all about finding what you enjoy.
I like that.
That's part of the fun. It is. It's a journey of exploration, and the best discoveries
Yeah.
are often the ones you least expect.
Well, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I am feeling inspired to brew up a cup of Guatemalan coffee right now.
Yeah?
And for our listeners who are feeling the same way,
Yeah.
we'll be back after a short break
Right.
with some final thoughts
Sounds good.
on this fascinating coffee journey.
Mm.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here
Yeah.
in our Guatemalan coffee exploration.
Yeah, from geisha to hybrids to sustainability.
Right.
There's a lot going on
There is.
in Guatemala.
Yeah, and I think as we wrap up, I
Yeah.
want to circle back
Okay.
to something that's been like a recurring theme.
What's that?
This balance
Oh, yeah.
between tradition and innovation.
It is a delicate dance,
It
honoring
is.
the heritage of a region,
Right.
but also embracing new ideas and techniques.
It's like it would be so easy to just
To get caught up.
get swept up in the
That's
trend
the trends.
and lose sight
Yeah.
of what made Guatemalan coffee special.
Right, like what made it unique in the first place.
Exactly.
But that's not happening here.
It's not. It's like a thoughtful evolution.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
They're building on those classic flavors,
Right.
that inherent quality
Yeah.
that Guatemala is known for,
Yeah.
and like elevating it.
Yeah, they're not throwing away the old.
Right.
They're just building on it,
Exactly.
which is great.
Yeah. It's like they're saying, we're proud of our history,
Yeah.
but we're also excited about the future.
Exactly. And that comes through in the coffee.
It really does.
Yeah, you can taste it.
And it's a testament to the people behind it.
It is.
Right,
The farmers, the producers.
They have the passion, the dedication.
Yeah, they're not just producing a commodity. They're creating a legacy,
Yes.
a story that's told with each cup.
And it's a story that's still being written,
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
with each new harvest,
Each experiment.
each experiment with processing,
with new varietals.
new varietals,
Yeah.
an ongoing story.
It is. And we get to be a part of it.
We do as coffee drinkers.
Yeah.
We're part of that story.
So I think that's what we hope you take away
Yeah.
from this deep dive.
What's that?
A sense of curiosity,
Okay.
a desire to explore beyond the familiar, and an appreciation
Yes.
for the artistry and
You
dedication.
don't grind every cup.
It's more than just a drink, right?
It is.
It's a connection to cultures,
Yeah.
to communities, to the land itself.
It's a story in a cup.
It is.
And in the case of Guatemala,
Yeah.
it's a story that's both rich in tradition and brimming with possibility.
I love that.
So the next time you reach for a bag of coffee,
Yeah.
think about the journey it took to get to your cup.
Think about the hands that nurtured those beans,
Yeah.
the traditions that shaped them, the innovations that brought them to life.
And maybe, just
Yeah.
maybe,
Okay.
let your curiosity lead you
Yes.
to a cup of Guatemalan coffee.
I think that's a great idea.
Because within those beans,
Yeah.
you'll find a taste of history, a glimpse of the future.
And a whole world of flavor
Yes.
waiting to be discovered.
Until next time,
Yeah.
happy brewing, everyone.
Happy brewing.